Hello, how's it going, guys, and welcome back to the CFC Talk podcast. And of course, as usual, we're joined by Amart. We did have a guest scheduled tonight, but again, they couldn't make it, and it's kind of hard to get guests on during international break because usually a lot of people are taking breaks from football and generally from being on social media, especially Twitter. So yeah, it was hard to get someone on, but yeah, we were joined with Amart. Of course, I love the company of Amart, so thank you for being here, Amart, again.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, international break almost over as we record this, and if you guys are hearing it, so the international break should be over, and we're playing Newcastle. Let me get straight into it by saying it is a tough blow for Chelsea because I'm just receiving news as we're recording this podcast that Kai Havertz as well as Christian Pulisic both will be out of the game against Newcastle. How are you feeling about that, Amar?
Which means Havertz has tested positive again for COVID-19.
I'm not entirely sure on that one.
Probably he's still quarantined.
Yeah,
Okay, okay. Yeah,
it could mean that the thing is he could have tested negative, but I think it's because he might have not been back to full fitness.
okay.
Because he probably hasn't trained for the last 2 weeks because he's been quarantining. Because I'm tempted to say it's been 14 days. But yeah, it could have been a test came out positive, or maybe he hasn't fully trained or hasn't isn't up to the mark to play.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a blow. Yeah. You know how important those two are to the squad, so. But they weren't there in our previous game, so and we still came up on top. So uh, we could. Newcastle away has always been a difficult game for us. So Um, it will be interesting to see how, because I don't even think Thiago Silva can also play, because he might also not be ready, considering his travel fatigue and all that, because he has to make a long journey to Brazil. He has to transit 2 times or so before he gets to Brazil, and then he has to do the same thing back. So probably might not have Thiago Silva also around, but I'm hoping he can play. So yeah, it will be a big blow for us, but we still have Mount and Kovacic, and it seems like Kovacic has started scoring goals again. So so probably we can get something out of both of them.
I think, yeah, I'm just looking at the stats right now of our away games. As you mentioned, Newcastle away has always been difficult for us. In the last previous three matches, we have lost twice and only won once.
Yeah,
Um, and I think, yeah, so we haven't had a very good record. But if you go all the way back to 2014 and you see the stats from there, then we've only won one game out of six matches. Um, and the last match that we won was in the August of 2018. So
yeah.
almost 3 years, through 2 years.
It's not that place. I don't know. I don't know whether probably now, because there are no spectators around, or there's no crowd. It might help us a bit, because we are seeing some weird results as a resulting from the fact that there are no crowds in the stand. So probably we can do something. I feel like we are on a hot streak now. So um we can, if we play the same, use the same formation, the same tactics, we can go there and get something. I don't think we'll get a point. I think we'll go there and get a win.
I think if we do get a win, then um, we would have. I, I I don't exactly know the stats, but yeah, we've only lost this season. We've only lost one game.
Yeah.
Um, in the Premier League and the Champions League, and if we include the Carabao Cup, then we've lost two games. Um, in more than, I think, is it eight in the Premier League and then three in the Champions League and then one in the Carabao Cup. So that would add up to almost 12 games. So one game lost, two-game lost in 12 games, which is an incredible stat. But going into this game, Chelsea, we're so strong in this, you know. Um, most goals scored. No, actually, yeah, most goals scored. Least goal conceded. How confident are you without, two of our best attackers without um, Havertz and Pulisic, we're going to score two or three goals and bring home the 3 points.
Yeah. No Havertz means that Kovacic will come in. I don't think Jorginho will play, so no Havertz means Kovacic will play. And then no Pulisic also means that Werner will move to the left again, and then we'll play Abraham in as our main center forward, and then Ziyech on the right. So they've both been solid during the international break, so they are on good form. Werner and Ziyech, so and even Kovacic. So um, I'm confident. It's not like I said earlier. It's not a good place to go to. Usually, we don't do at St James Park. St James Park. We I don't know. I just don't know the voodoo they have there. But it always works. It always works. We go there and we. I think the last win I remember. You said we won the one in the last 6 games, right? I think the last win I remember there was
Newcastle.
Yeah, yeah. I think the last win I remember there was Hazard's hat trick or something. That was a long time ago. I know we've won after that, but that's the memory that comes to mind. That's the game I remember us playing very, very well. And I think since then I've not really I don't really remember any
Yeah,
game
that
where
would
we
be the
dominated.
2014 game.
Yes, yes, that is it. And Hazard got a hat trick. Um, and I think that was the only game, or that's the last game I remember that we dominated them throughout the whole game at St James Park. But apart from that, even if we've won after that, I don't think we've dominated the game fully. Sometimes we scrape a win, or we can defend our asses off or something like that. But um, I think this it will change. It will change. I'm just positive. I just hope we go there and win.
Yeah, I think going into this, we also have to look at Newcastle's form, and you can say that they've won 2 games out of their last 5, and that too with not very convincing wins, if you want to call that. But yeah, I think it shouldn't be a difficult task for Chelsea. Go there and just play your hearts out and get a win. But we saw it against Southampton. We saw it against West Brom. We can't sit there and say this is a very easy game and 3 points are in the bag.
And
But
see,
yeah,
I
um,
wanted to add that with Newcastle's form, it hasn't been really consistent. I think in their last 5 games, they've won only twice. They've drawn twice. They've won twice. They've drawn once, and then they've lost twice. Am I correct on that? I think they've had yeah, they've had an inconsistent run. But I think they won their last game against Southampton, or they lost.
no, they lost 2-0 to Southampton. And now they've won. If you look at their previous 5 matches, they've only won 2 matches, drawn one, and lost two. So yeah, they've been quite inconsistent with their form, but they do at times just show up, and like that draw against was it Tottenham a few weeks back.
That was very surprising because I thought Tottenham was going to even beat them, but they somehow came out with the with a draw. So I don't know. You see, with these teams, you really can't predict them when they are going against top six teams, because they show up. They usually show up, and especially at their home, they might really decide to turn up. But we also have to go there with the mentality that we are going to win. We have to break that voodoo they have on us. So like Bournemouth isn't playing in the EPL anymore, but we've got a second bogey team, and we don't need a second bogey team. So we have to go there and win something. I think I was also saying that they are staff their striker Callum Wilson. He will be a worry. He'll definitely be a worry. And then I think that's it. Him and Saint Alan Martin Sam. He also be a problem.
Oh, that guy is gonna run around.
Yeah, yeah. He's going to be a problem for us. Yeah, he's so fast and he's very, very skilled. He's very talented. So he doesn't really score that many goals, but he can cause problems. He often is he often starts the attack and all that. So It might cause problems. But I think if we are able to keep those two out of the game, we should be fine. If we're able to, if our defenders and our defensive mids, uh, they are able to keep those two out of the game, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, I think it boils down to just stick with the defense that we've been doing. You know, Mendy has been so instrumental in this back four, but and in the goal sticks, and I think if we continue the way we've done, um, I think we can get another clean sheet and a win. And yeah, I think formation wise, we're gonna have to go with the same 4-3-3, even though we don't have our attacking players. I'd like to see Callum Hudson-Odoi maybe get a start. If not, then try and get Werner up top. Maybe have Mount still play in his position because he's been amazing since he's been moved back to midfield. Um, and I think one of the writers that we've got covered this on the um, on our website. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. Shameless plug. But yeah, I think overall we've got a very very strong chance of winning, but just need to like be lethal at the start and just finish the game in the first 30 minutes so that they don't have to come back and they don't have any chances of anything happening.
Yeah, I think the article that you mentioned, I read it. It was very very good. Who was it? Was it Akash or Ale?
Akash wrote it, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was very very good. So they should definitely check it out. It's a very good article. Yeah, so just that we should go there and go and win. That's all. That's all I'm interested in. And like you said, yes, Mount. We all know. You see, Mount is a very good player. He's not the best on the left wing. That's something that we all know. It's a fact. But he tries hard when it's there. I think the only thing is lacking in when he's playing on the left is his crosses. He doesn't give enough crosses because he's that's not his position. That's not where he's used to. But when he moved back to the number eight position, playing alongside Havertz, he's done very, very, very well. And I think Kovacic, he linked up with Kovacic very, very well against the Sheffield United. So if they can still continue that chemistry against Newcastle, I think will be good. Will be very, very good. It was unfortunate for us letting a goal against Sheffield United, but I don't think we'll even concede against Newcastle, to be honest. I don't think we'll concede. It will be difficult, but once we start scoring, I think we'll run away with it. So I'm just hoping this doesn't come to bite me in the foot, but I'm confident. I'm confident that we'll go there and go and win.
Sorry, I think I was muted there. What I was saying is if it does come to bite us on Saturday night, we'll be sitting here and just thinking, how has this happened? Like now we've just got to get through an hour of talking about why we've lost against Newcastle. When a few days back we were talking about 3 points being in the bag.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I feel like Lampard has finally found a solution that actually works, like something a tactic that actually works for everybody, makes everybody's um best abilities come out. And I think if this one doesn't work, I don't know which one we're going to look to anymore. But it like we said in the beginning of the season, this team would definitely take time to gel together. It looks like they've taken less of a time than what we anticipated, but they still need time. They still need time to adjust to the new style. They still need time to adjust to probably we might try a different formation also in the season depending on who we meet. So yeah, we just have to go there and continue and get our 3 points.
Yeah, I think that covers up most of what we want to discuss about Newcastle. There's not a lot to talk about against Newcastle, of course, due to the international break. There's been 2 weeks off, so we can't really have, we don't really have something to compare with. Other than that, just some injury updates. Other than Kai Havertz and Christian Pulisic not playing against Newcastle. As Amart mentioned before, there's a chance Thiago Silva might not play, as well as there's a chance that we might not see Ben Chilwell, who still has not been cleared by the Chelsea doctors um, for the game against Newcastle. And of course, if we're playing an away game, we're most likely going to leave Cobham a day early. So it'll have to be very rapid. But hopefully by the time lineup comes, we will probably have an idea of who's playing and who's not playing. But yeah, I think this is what the international break does, and we discussed this with Sammy last week and how much it's affecting the players. Just an interesting stat for you, Amart. I think this is something that you're gonna have a good time discussing. Injuries. We have seen 19 Premier League players test positive for coronavirus this week. Firstly, secondly, there are 7 injuries in this international break that affects Premier League clubs. So in all, we've got 26 players who cannot play the game. Probably this week, next week, on in some occasions, um, where we can't do much. So international break not there till March. But should we in March say, hey, we don't want another international break?
This is exactly why the international break doesn't work, because even without an international break, there should be a period where the players rest at least. So they could have a 1 week period instead of going out to go and play for their countries, which is important, very, very important. But in the situation that we find ourselves in, like, it should be limited. It should be given a different um, time or a different date instead of mixing it in between an already fully packed or tightly packed season. And yeah, I think it was anticipated by a lot of pundits, a lot of journalists, that this season we would see more injuries. On the first day, we saw more injuries and we saw more COVID-19 positive results. So the way the season is, I think that's one of the reasons why I'm not entirely happy, but I'm glad we are not in the Carabao Cup. So it lessens our number of games that we play. So our players might have more rest than other players of other teams who are still in the Carabao Cup. So it's actually a blessing in disguise. But considering how packed the season is, they're playing a game like every 3 days or so. If it's not the Premier League, then we are playing the um Champions League, and the FA Cup will start in January. So it's going to be even more. Um, it's going to become tighter. So it's bound to happen. It's definitely bound to happen. So I just don't know. I don't like the international break. I don't like it at all, and it's 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 just making things worse and worse, and I don't even know what to do about it. I don't think it will change either, because the countries also want to play. UEFA also wants to get their revenue. Like, everybody wants to get something from football because it's important. It puts a lot of money in
That's
people's
how it
pockets.
works nowadays.
Yeah, it puts a lot of money in people's pockets. So the thing is, as long as the players, they will see it as long as the players are getting paid, they should play. But if they are not there to play, what are you going to what are you going to get? You're not going to get anything. So I don't know how it's going to change, but I don't see it changing because the African Cup is also going to come on in January. And then what I wanted to add this thing about the African Cup. Okay, probably we'll get there when we talk about the international break. So let me just hold on. So yeah, I don't know how it's going to change. I really wish the international break would be scraped or something, but we're almost at the end of the year and this is the last um week. So it's already done the damage. So we just have to live with it.
I think if I'm looking at the schedule, and you said we've got a game every 3 days, in December, I'm looking at the schedule just for December, and I can see that we've got a total of 4, and then plus another 4, so 8 games in December, which is like 2 games a week average, which is highly um unlikely. But yes, December usually for the Premier League teams, especially the ones who are top four. Sorry, Arsenal and Tottenham. Um, we we usually have a few extra matches to play. We play in the elite league of the Champions League, and so I think this year it's the same case with 8 games. But then what the only problem is that when we look at November and October and September for the other years of Premier League, you say, hey, this is very calm. You see only one game a week, or maybe two in some instances. But now when you have October, November, you've got like games every 3 days, and then December you're doing the same thing, and in January as well. I think we've there's a 10 day break in between that. But then yeah, as soon as Champions League games finish in December, the group stage, then we've got the FA Cup rolling in. So yeah, players are going to be tired and everything. And this also in, clashes on with a debate, and I was discussing it with the other guys on the podcast that I did the other day, and we were talking about how the Premier League clubs, and especially those playing in three or four competitions, um, don't have the ability to take on five substitutions, and that really does affect players. You know, because if you have five substitutions, you're almost replacing half of your team, um, and they might be rested for the next game, and we can swap around. What's your opinion on that, Amart? Are you happy with the three subs, or you want to see the five subs come in and like the other leagues?
I think the five subs works far better. Like it lessens the fatigue that the players have because they will not play full time. They will be replaced, like you said. It's almost like replacing the half of the team. So I think the five um subs work. I don't know why. I think at the beginning of the season, it was announced that before the season started, it was announced that the Premier League will be having five um, substitutions. Then later on, it was changed back to three substitutions. You can see that it's working very well in the Champions League. Like everybody's able to play. People are not really there's not a big strain on players. They play like 50, 60 minutes and then they are replaced. I think it will work better. But the disadvantage five substitutions have is it disadvantages the lesser teams, the teams with the smaller squad because it's they don't really have enough players to be changing all the time. So you see, even with the five teams implemented, the smaller teams they still make three changes. It's rather advantageous the bigger teams with larger squads and more talent on the bench. They can do that, but with the smaller teams, if they don't have enough talent on the bench, they can't risk bringing somebody on and then losing the game. So they end up.
But can't you say, look, the smaller teams don't play as much as the top four or top five clubs, because if you look at someone like, let's pick on Newcastle this week because we're playing them, but if we look at Newcastle, you can say they're only in the Premier League, Carabao Cup, and FA Cup, and someone like Chelsea who are also in the Champions League. But with the Champions League, you can say, hey, that's only one competition extra, but you have to understand that with that one competition, you get six extra games
Yeah.
in the span of the same amount of time as Newcastle would have probably gotten two matches of Carabao Cup, and the FA Cup doesn't even start until January. So um, for the and then again, yeah, for the smaller teams, as you mentioned, it is a disadvantage. But then, why do they need to use their three, four, five substitutions? They can just use their three if they want. And you know, why do we have to say, hey, let's make it fair for the smaller teams? But it's unfair. Then it becomes unfair to the teams like Chelsea, Man United, who play regular in and out every 3 4 days.
Yeah, it does. But you see, all these things are subject to voting, and when it comes down to voting, the big teams will always be at the at the in the minority. They'll always be in the minority because there are only four teams that play in the Champions League, right? And then there are only two that play in the Europa League. So it's only six. So if, like, let's say they are voting, probably six will be in favor, and then the other teams left will not be in favor, and that's where the issue will come from. So if they decide not to vote for the five um, substitutions, it will still go against the big teams. So it all boils down to them. It all boils down to an understanding, because, like I said, because they know that the five substitutions or the three substitutions won't make any difference to the, like, changing it from three to five won't make any difference for them. So they don't see the reason why there should be um five substitutions because it only benefits it will definitely benefit them in a way because I know some of the teams outside the top six, some of them have squads that they can actually rotate, but they don't really have the depth of the top six teams. The top six teams have like they have the full depth. So that's where the issue will come from. That's where the issue will come from. So if it boils down to voting, they always lose. But if it comes down to probably the FA taking a decision on their own or something, which I highly doubt that they will do that, then that will be good for us. Yeah, I'll always prefer the five substitutions. I feel like five substitutions um makes it less strenuous for players. Like it's better for players, and we can still field a lot of players without having an issue of this player being left out or that player being left out or this player. Like everybody can play, and it's better for me. But like I said, it all boils down to convincing them.
Yeah, I think like you mentioned, every player gets the opportunity, and a prime example would be Chelsea and how Mateo Kovacic, who was our Player of the Year last year, has barely had time to play this season because of how good the midfield's been with the three that's already been in there. You know, with Kante, Kante, Mount, and Havertz up top. So I think if we had five substitutions, then we would have seen maybe Jorginho and Kovacic swap every game, and then we would have maybe two substitutions for the front three, and then one that just stays there just in case someone gets injured, or maybe someone in the defense. And yeah, I think we need to make sure that we get somehow the Premier League rules against this and says, hey, we need to have five substitutions, or else by December everyone's going to be in a wheelchair for 2 months.
Exactly,
Um,
exactly. Yeah, the Premier League will become like the youth team because all the main players will be out injured, and then they will have to fill their young players to come and play. So everybody will be playing from the youth team. So yeah,
we
it,
might even see some Sunday league style football come in.
exactly. We have to go and get players from the Sunday League to come and do something in the Premier League. That would be hilarious.
Maybe someone from the under nines and under tens team comes in, especially for someone like Liverpool. They've got so many injuries.
Yeah,
Respect to their players and respect to everyone, but just as a um, I think Salah's got COVID. Van Dijk's out. Joe Gomez is out. Trent Alexander is out. Who else is out?
yeah,
I think.
yeah.
Um,
Liverpool has been hit with some major injury problems. I think they've become
yeah,
us. They've taken our position from last season.
yeah. Last season we were struggling with that.
Yeah, and it's I think they are back for their main defenders. All of them are out. Van Dijk is gone. Gomez, and then Fabinho sometimes he plays in the defense. He's also injured. Like you said, Salah also has COVID. It's, it's just crazy. It's just this. I don't know. This season just seems like um, um we like everybody knows it's a difficult season, so we are just trying our best to push through to the end. So when we get out of it, then that is it, and we just move on to the next season.
I think yeah, that's the case because it makes it so interesting. If and I was talking to someone about this as well, and I said, if you look at the last three Premier Leagues, the only one Premier League that was very close was between Man City and Liverpool, and they were only off. I think Man City won the league by 1 point or something, and
Yeah,
but then if you exclude them, the rest of the teams, even in the the rest top two, or count the fifth and 16th, they were miles behind. They were almost 20, 30 points behind. Um, and then with when Man City won their first one, it was massive. The way they started off 100 points, and then Liverpool as well last year, they started off with like 15, 16 wins. So I think this is one of the closest Premier Leagues. And as you mentioned, Amart, last time you said Leicester City and Tottenham are dark horses, and as much as it pains for me to say Tottenham are contenders this year, It's very surprising to see Leicester and Tottenham up in there, isn't it? And then Southampton was who were fourth place.
Yeah, but with, it's very very surprising. But with Tottenham, you know they are always going to be contenders, and they will remain just that, contenders. They are not going to do anything else. That's the only thing.
Butlers.
Yeah, we know they will be contenders, and they will definitely be contenders. I have a feeling that Jose Mourinho might win the trophy this season, but I don't think he'll win the Premier League trophy. Probably the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup. But I have a feeling the way they are going, Jose Mourinho, you can tell. You can tell if Jose Mourinho's team is going to win something or not because there's this kind of um, 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 flow with how they play, the style with how they play. It doesn't look like to slow down anytime soon. But like I said, Tottenham has always been they've always been contended, and they are not going to get anywhere. They are not going to. I don't think they're going to win anything. That they are not going to win the Premier League. So, but Leicester, yeah, Leicester too it's a surprise because they I don't know even how to even put it because they've not really been outstanding. Leicester hasn't been outstanding, but they are getting the results. So, and I think is that they are also at the top because other teams are also not doing well. They have been shocking results all over the Premier League. So it's a difficult one to predict. I know we made our predictions in the beginning, but
I wanna see our faces when we look back and we say, how has that gone? How is that just? Phew.
it's very very interesting. Look at West Ham. West Ham too are usually at the relegation zone. They are now also doing very very well. Everton, it looks like they've slowed down a bit. They slowed down momentum a bit. Teams like Leeds, teams like Aston Villa, they're all being doing very very well. They surprise the big teams, so you can't really tell which team. I don't know. I don't those people. I think the people who have been going to the betting centers and stuff. I think they'll have a difficult time trying to bet a win or a loss for certain games. I saw some
Yeah,
meltdowns. I saw
I'm
some
sure.
meltdowns on Twitter when Arsenal lost to West Ham. So we are going to see more of that. We're going to see more people losing bets, and I don't know. It's a weird season, and we just have to
Yeah,
wait.
and this could partly be due to the fact that there's no crowds, so it almost feels like when you're playing at Stamford Bridge or at the Emirates or anywhere, you would say you're kind of playing in a neutral ground because you don't have that 20, 30,000 fans shouting and cheering for your team. Or you don't have those 20,000 fans booing your name as soon as you're about to take a penalty or whatever. Um, and I think that does make an effect. And there was a stat that I read on Twitter, and it was like there's more away wins in this Premier League than there were in the last 25 years of the Premier League.
Wow, then it's
Yeah,
that I mean that's a serious stat right there. You can tell the importance the crowd has because I think I also read somewhere that usually the crowd influences the decisions of the referees and stuff, and it looks like now that the crowd isn't there, the referees are doing
I
what
don't,
they
I
like.
don't think that affects anything at Amart. To be honest, referees have been shambles this year as well. I think VAR has.
No, you see, but you
we
see, there's some how to say it? I think I watched was it yesterday? Yesterday Germany lost 6-0 to Spain. No, no, it wasn't that. It
wow.
wasn't that. I think Portugal. Portugal won against Croatia, and Portugal's second goal, it it clearly hit Jota's hand. Like it was going out, and Jota used his hand to control the ball. I think if there was a crowd there, the referee will respond to the crowd because the crowd would definitely make something like to make an. And there wasn't any VAR in the Nations League that they played over the international break. Now there have not been any use for VAR. The VAR hasn't been used anywhere. So what the referee gives, that's how it goes. So I think in an incident like that, the crowd, the spectators might make a difference in a game like that. And it was a game that they had to win. Croatia had to win, or they had to either draw or win, and they didn't get anything out of it. Kovacic scored two goals, and everything was just thrown away. So you things like that. I mean, that's an instance, but things like that. There's some games where you that you watch. I think I've watched. Like, I've not watched many games in the stadium in Ghana here, but I think I've watched one game in Ghana where the referee made a decision and the fans were shouting on the referee, and the referee decided to change the decision. Those things happen. Like, I mean, they happen. It's rare. It's rare, but they happen. So, and I've seen it happen in the Premier League before. Sometimes the referee can um, see something. That was before VAR. The referee can see something, and he makes the decision as a result of how the crowd reacted. So it's also a factor. It's also a factor. But I think, like you said, the fans also give the players more impetus to play. They give the players more um, as I say, motivation to play at their fullest. You see, if they even if they score goals, you see some of them even behave as if it's nothing. They score the goal, they don't really celebrate or anything because there's nobody around to see the goal that you scored. Only on TV, only at home. Nobody to really appreciate what is going on in the stadium. So it has an effect on them as well.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. And as a player, you want your fans to back you as much as possible. And when you're playing to tough times, and like players like Kepa, he would love fans to be back at the ground, but only after he's got his confidence back. Wouldn't want the Chelsea fans turning on him.
I think with someone like Kepa, it's an advantage that crowds are not in the stands. because because what happened against Southampton, I don't think he would have gone scot free. If I think that happened at the I don't know, I think on the left side, and I think the left side is the shed end or the Matty Harden end. I don't know which end it was, but that end is for Chelsea supporters. So definitely they would have been on his case throughout the game.
Yeah, I mean, Kepa is an exception, I would say. Kepa is the only one happy that fans are not in the ground. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I didn't follow a lot of international football. Um, Whenever there's an international football, I just try and take a break as well. You know, I think I'm just like done. You know, when we I think this is me getting into kind of like the podcast situation, but when you sit there and do a whole podcast, maybe two a week, three a week, plus all the things that go back behind the scenes. Um, you just want to take a break, and I think this whole week,
Yeah,
I would open Discord and I would see the Chelsea server, just the server that we've got, the staff server, and
yeah,
it wouldn't have any notifications, and I would just sit there and be like, I'm fine with that. Let's just keep it that way for now. Not that I don't want to work on Chelsea, or not that I don't want to work with anyone. It's just that there comes a time where you want to sit back and say, "Let me just take a break before I just get burnt out," and I just get too tired from
it's
it.
true. It's true. I get it. You have to also rest. I think a lot of I think Chelsea YouTube channels and stuff have also decided to take some breaks or to lay back a bit during the international break. So, but I can give a quick rundown of some of the goal scorers and some of the standout performances if you want.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it. I think I can put in some input. I've been following it on Twitter, so maybe if I've got something to jump in and say.
Okay, then let's start with Werner. Werner scored. I think that their first game they played against their first game they played in the Nations League. He scored a brace against Ukraine, which was good, very good. Two goals. I think they were a goal down when he scored, and then I think they ended the game 3-1 winners or 4-1 winners. Forgotten. But yesterday they lost to Spain 6-0, which was very surprising. I think the only main player they were missing was Rudiger. But I think apart from Rudiger, their full team played and they lost 6-0. That was just crazy.
I think overall, if sorry to interrupt. I think Germany, it was quite surprising because I wasn't watching the match and I just got a notification saying Germany's just lost. Was it Germany? Sorry, I just got lost. It was Germany who lost 6-0, right?
Yes, they lost 6-0 to Spain.
Yeah, I think I just got confused for a second. I was like, "Whoa, what's going on?" Yeah, I think it's quite surprising to see a team like Germany lose 6-0, and against Spain, who's just drawn against Netherlands. Um, so I think even the international break is all over the place.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You can tell the players themselves they are also tired.
they just want
They're
to
also
get it done
tired.
with.
They just want to get it done with, exactly. And then moving on, Kante also scored against Portugal. The game they played against Sweden yesterday, Kante didn't play. Yeah, yeah.
I actually
It
saw
was
that
it was.
goal.
You see, I think this his goal even kind of like backs the claim that he's not really how should I say a DM. DM isn't really his main role, but he's rather a free roam midfielder. He can do a lot of things. He can attack and defend. Being the DM is where we can get the best out of him. But for him to find himself in that position to score, because it wasn't from a corner, it wasn't from a set piece, it was from an attack. They started an attack, and he found himself in the penalty box, and he finished the cross beautifully. So yeah, he scored for, and that was the only goal they scored against a Portuguese team with all their stars playing. So it was very good. And then yesterday too, Giroud scored a brace against Sweden. Did very very well. So I think he now has 44 goals for France, which is just crazy. And I read a stat that said that in the last 6 years, Giroud has ended up being France's top goal scorer for the national team in the last 6 years.
Was it no two
Yeah,
players, Timo Werner and Tammy Abraham, and then Giroud gets a chance. So he's never been the guy who throws up tantrums. Pogba, who doesn't perform well. Martial. So I think with Giroud, he's so professional with it that he'll wait for his chance, and when he gets the chance, he will perform so well that the next time the manager is going to be like, "Hey, how can I not pick him up?" When he's done that last.
exactly. I think Giroud is a very good team player. He understands. I think he understands what the situation, because his contract was supposed to have ended last season, but he extended a 1 year contract, knowing very well that Chelsea is going to get in a striker. Chelsea is going to get in more players. So, and Abraham's, to be honest, Abraham's performance. I know a lot of people like wrote him off, but I think Abraham's performance this season has surprised a lot of people, because he's taking on that Giroud role. I don't know whether he has been learning from Giroud, or Giroud has been teaching him some stuff, but you can clearly see that he's taking on that Giroud role instead of being the main issue I had with Abraham last season was that he doesn't really come in to win the ball. He waits for the ball to get to him in attack. And it looks like this season he has changed that. He comes in to win the ball. He's able to start attacks. He's able to work very well with the midfielders, and sometimes he even moves on the left and Werner goes in the middle, which is just weird. But you can see he has added more to his game. So I think Giroud understands the situation going on now. And Giroud is also, I don't like using his age, but he's still 34. So he knows he's getting to the end of his career. So he knows that he has to step back and let the two young strikers be in the limelight. So I think
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
He's understanding that well.
yeah, exactly, exactly. I think I've already spoken about Kovacic. Kovacic scored 2 goals for Croatia and versus Portugal, but still, they still lost the game unfairly, in my opinion. They should have gotten a draw at least. It was unfair because Jota clearly had um, handled the ball with his hand, so definitely it's bad. So that's all for the Nations League. And then when we come to the AFCON qualifier, Mendy had 2 clean sheets for Senegal. Is there a surprise?
I think that
I
just
don't think
sums up the whole international break in like 2 words. Mendy clean sheet. That's it done. Chelsea fans are happy.
that's it.
Like
Yeah,
we can pack our bags and go home.
yeah, exactly. He had 2 clean sheets for Senegal, so they are on course to qualifying for the AFCON. And then Ziyech also had 3 goals for um, Morocco. The first game he scored 2 goals against Central African Republic, and then on the return leg he scored a beautiful free kick that went all the way in. If you get a chance, watch the highlight. He took a free kick from the right hand side, of the field, and it went all the way in. And the first game too that he played, I think his first or second goal, he it was a low cross that went all the way in. He didn't touch anybody, just went in. So his left foot is on a different level. His left foot is,
Yeah,
is
that,
on
I
the
was gonna say that.
his left foot alone needs a statue, not
I
the
think he
whole
should
body,
get
just the
that
left
left
foot
foot
needs a statue.
insured.
Yes,
Um,
he really needs to. I think he really needs to get insured. So they are also on course to qualifying for the AFCON. And then one thing I want to add with the AFCON is this. Initially, it was supposed to be played in July, but I think because of weather conditions in the host country, I think that it's Cameroon or so. It's is really really rainy during that time, so they've moved it back to January, which means in January we'll lose Ziyech and Mendy, which would be a very big blow because Senegal are on course to qualifying for the AFCON, and then um, Morocco are also on course to qualify. So Ziyech and Mendy will lose them um, for the AFCON because it was moved from July, which is after the season ends. It was moved from July back to January, which is when it's usually played. So we'll lose Ziyech and Mendy, which will be a blow to us because which means we'll have to um, um, bring on. I don't think Ziyech going will be a blow that much because we can replace him with Callum. Callum can play perfectly well there, and but Mendy will be a big blow. He will be a bigger blow than Ziyech because we know if he's not there, the people that are coming to replace him are not really up to you know their mistakes.
Check
But
better be ready.
hopefully, yeah, he has to be ready. But hopefully, before that time, Kepa might have learned some things. He might have built confidence a bit. Caballero, we know what to get with Caballero. I don't think Caballero is going to improve or is going to become any worse. I think what we get with Caballero is what we'll what we'll get if Mendy isn't there. But I think with Kepa still has more room to improve. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. I think that rounds it up for the the international break. The people, I think that's it. I think, but okay, Baba Rahman is still a Chelsea player, so Baba Rahman still played for he played for Ghana. We won our first game, but the second game we lost. So I think that's it. Yeah, and Callum also scored a goal again for the young Lions. He's playing with the under 21. He scored a goal. He scored a penalty. I think he also got the man of the match for the game. So all round, Chelsea players are doing well.
Yeah, and I think their performances in the international break are also reflected back at Chelsea, and then their training at Chelsea is reflected back in their national teams, respectively. Um,
Yeah.
Again, we've got the best players in the league. We've got the best manager in the league. Arsenal, Tottenham, Liverpool, no one's winning the league. It's us. We're winning it this year. Um, I'm going to start publicly saying it now, so that if I somehow we don't win the league, I'll just deactivate all my accounts and I'll just pretend like it never happened.
No, man, no, you have to speak it into existence. If you speak it, it will
Yeah.
happen. so, so the more you speak, the more you say it. I think I also start saying it very soon. But I want to I want to get my prediction right. But if I don't get it right and we win, that would be great as well. So
Yeah, I think we're gonna
definitely.
have to start. First, Chelsea fans have to start believing it before we can say it out loud, and once we say it out loud, it'll actually happen. Um, but this gives me,
I think a lot of, I think a lot of Chelsea fans. Sorry, I think a lot of Chelsea fans have started believing that we can actually win the league.
yeah, of course, 100%. I think this gives us the perfect segment to talk about FPL. As important as it is for Chelsea to win the Premier League, it's important for one of us to win the Fantasy League. Um, I'm looking at the table right now. It doesn't look too good for neither me or you, Amart, but you're still climbing. Um, I think you were last a few weeks ago, but now you're in eighth place. 70 points last week. But yeah, I think our table is as tight as the Premier League table. But Jesslyn, Gloria, they've been incredible. Still up top. Alex, I think a few weeks back he said He was going to catch up, but I don't think that's happening anytime soon. He's 49 points behind first
Yeah,
place. So
the gap is the gap is very big. I think the probably what will help him right now is a captain that can score like a hat trick or something.
maybe he can use his triple captain, or maybe use one of his boosts.
Yeah, yeah. But for me, triple captain is too early. I don't use the triple captain this early. But I think I'll be using my first wild card very soon. Probably before we enter December, I might be using my first wild card. But my triple
Ooh.
captain, I'll wait till like getting to the end of the season because that's when some of the players really show up. They start scoring hat tricks and all that because some of them want to get the golden boot. So I'll wait till then.
I think you might. I think I'm just looking at your team, and I think you might have to use the wild card because you don't have any option. You've got six players who have a chance of not playing the game. Um,
Yeah.
so your team's almost going to be changed next week.
Yeah, I have to start thinking about strategy very soon.
Yeah. Um, it's all fun and games. I think it's all fun and games, and I think we said we're going to be giving away rewards at the end of the season, and that's still happening. Don't worry about that. A lot of people have asked us, "What are the rewards? What are the rewards?" We're not entirely sure of what they are, but there will be something that we will give away, and it won't be a gift card or anything. It'll probably be um, something special, maybe a custom CFC Talk award or something. That long way to go. Long way to go. First, we need to make sure Chelsea win,
Yeah,
and then we need to make sure someone wins the Fantasy Premier League. But yeah, it's all fun and games to do all of this. Thank you, Amart. Thank you for being on again tonight.
always a pleasure. You know it.
I mean, I think I'm holding you on for a long time. I think you have to leave somewhere, so I'll keep the outro as quick as possible. Thank you guys for listening to it. If you're listening to it on an audio platform, make sure to subscribe or add it to your playlist. It really does mean a lot when you listen to these. If you are watching it on YouTube, make sure to leave a like, rating, subscribe, and comment below who you think will win the Premier League, as well as what you think the international break needs to be scrapped or not. And now I can publicly say that we have a website, cfctalkpod.com is our website. Make sure to check out our articles. We're trying to do daily articles covering all aspects of Chelsea FC, and we've got such a great writing team who's working around the clock. And we've just published an article a few days back about Mason Mount. If you want to listen to that, we'll try and link um, an article every episode in the description for you guys to listen to. Um, and other than that, big things still coming on. Big things still coming on. If you guys follow me, my own personal Twitter account, you'll notice I'm doing some um, illustration, and we might be seeing some shirts coming out soon. Custom apparel, maybe CFC Talk. Let's see how that goes. But yeah, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.